It's my birthday. Me and my boyfriend came to Tenerife to celebrate. There was like a medical emergency on board. We went on a submarine. We went to this aqua club thermal place. The next day we went snorkeling with turtles, and then the day after that we went up Teide, biggest mountain in mainland Spain. I think as well that you should try and steer clear of some of the less ethical animal stuff that I've seen advertised on the island. Hello and welcome to another episode of These Corners of the World podcast. I am your host, Kelly O'Brien, and today we are in the beautiful island of Tenerife. It is very windy today. It has been beautiful sunshine up until today, so of course I chose today to record, but it's still a really beautiful place, and I'm going to show you basically what I've done here in the hopes that maybe if you're coming here you can, maybe see if I've done anything you want to also do, and you can come here and do your own itinerary basically. So yeah, basically I'm just going to go through what I did. A personal update first as usual. It's my birthday and me and my boyfriend came to Tenerife to celebrate. It's actually his birthday as well, very close to mine, so we usually celebrate it together. And yeah, basically I have some cats here. I don't know if you can see them. I hope they don't attack each other on camera because that would be embarrassing, but they're very lovely to each other normally when there's not food involved. To celebrate our birthdays, we kind of went all out. We decided to get a lounge access in Malaga. So if anybody is living in Malaga or passing through Malaga, the Sala VIP lounge in Malaga is really, really, really good. We took full advantage of every second that we were able to go there, actually. We literally tried to check in 5 hours ahead of our flight, and they were like, no, it's a bit early, come back in another hour. And we came back on the dot of like 4 hours ahead of our flight so that we could essentially make the most of the lounge. I think we went hungry as well so that we could eat everything. And we did. It was really, really, really fun. I love a good lounge. And we also picked seats on the plane, which I don't normally do. I kind of just do the random allocation thing. And then if I'm traveling with someone and we're sitting apart, I might pay for one person to join the other. But usually I don't pick both seats before flying. But this time I did. I picked the second aisle on the right. So the first one on the right, but it's technically number 2. And I did this because you would think that number 1 would be best, but number 1 is like right in front of the toilet, and I never like to sit there because you can kind of smell the toilet chemicals a bit when the door opens and closes. So number 2 on the right is kind of a little bit better. So we sat there, but we didn't actually get to sit there for the whole flight, unfortunately. I mean, I don't mind, it's fine, but there was like a medical emergency on board, at least one. Basically, we took off and there was like this commotion after a little while, and we looked around and this guy basically had fainted in his seat. And I saw the guy, he was like pure white. He was a Spanish, I think, guy. Like he had darker tan skin, but he was like gone really, really, really white. And he kind of woke up after a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Someone said, is there a doctor on board? And a woman came up. I think that she was a nurse maybe. And she was helping, and a few people were in the aisle helping. And the guy passed out like I think 2 more times on board. And the weirdest thing is that the guy helping the guy, who I later don't think was even traveling with the guy, he passed out in the aisle. So there's like 2 unrelated people passing out on this trip. And we were just like, what is going on? Is there some sort of like weird new Ebola virus that like people are dropping like flies on this flight? But thankfully, touch wood, I don't think that was the case. I think perhaps because the initial guy started to vomit. I think that the first guy helping him, maybe it affected him a little bit, and he kind of, because I saw him stand up and he just went like, but yeah, he was okay by the end. But me and my boyfriend, we did give up our seats because we were sitting at the front. And, for when the guy lands, the medical personnel came on and took a few minutes with him and then took him off. So we let him sit in our seats. So we were a bit further back. But I mean, I'm not bitching about it. It's okay. Needs must. So we are flying home today, actually, and hopefully we'll get to sit in the seats that we booked this time without any medical emergencies. Touch wood again. So yeah, that was the flight over, and we started off quite chill. We rented a car. It was a Cupra, though I guess the theme of this podcast might be that things don't always go to plan. So we went to rent a Cupra, and I had never driven a Cupra before, and it was a nice one, so I was kind of looking forward to it. And we got to the rental agency in the airport really late at night, just before they closed. We were a little delayed by the medical emergency on board. And the guy was like, you can't rent a car because you haven't had your license for 2 years. I've had my license for about a year and a half. And yeah, I was gutted. But I mean, at least my boyfriend had a normal person trajectory and actually got a license quite early on in life, unlike me. So he was able to rent the car and drive it around all good. We initially just drove somewhere quite close to the airport because it was very late at night. Lovely place. The guy stayed out really late, waiting for us longer than he should have. Really nice guy. And we checked in. It was called Sunshine Apartments. It was on booking.com if anyone wants to look it up. We woke up the next morning and it was just looking out over the balcony. Basically, it was a lovely little apartment. Nothing massive, but a really nice balcony with 2 deck chairs, sun loungers, with the sun coming in at like a really nice angle. Like you could sunbathe all day if you wanted to. And it overlooked this really lush green garden with a swimming pool. And it was just a really beautiful place. So the guy had said, make the most of it, stay as long as you want. He literally said, stay as long as you want. So, of course, we woke up, I sunbathed a bit, we went in swimming, and we're coming back, showers, not taking our time very much. And then there's a knock on the door, and the guy's like, what are you still doing here? I was like, you told us to stay as long as you want. And he said, yeah, as long as you want, until 1. And I was like, well, you didn't say that. Anyway, I don't mean to diss him. It was a miscommunication. We probably didn't hear him say what he said. It was a lovely apartment. The guy was super nice. And he could have been really irritated after that, but he just said, it's fine. I said, can we get 10 minutes just to pack? And he was like, yeah, sure. And it was really nice after that. So it was perfect. And yeah, we got in the car and we drove north, which is where we are now. The roads were kind of hairy, and I don't know if this is a Canary Island thing, but like people are driving really crazy here. Maybe it's rental cars, tourists, maybe it's locals. I have no idea. But the amount of times we've come around a corner and someone has just been in the middle of the road is like insane. And yeah, I was actually glad after a while that I wasn't driving. So yeah, but we drove up to the north to a place called Finca La Punta, and that's where we are now. I also videoed through this accommodation, so I'll include this little bit here. Basically, it is the most beautiful accommodation I've ever stayed. Well, one of the most beautiful I've ever stayed in. It's this compound with like all these beautiful trees, and there's a whole field of cacti in the back that they apparently sell. I'm not sure if there's like decoration purposes, or I think it is decoration purposes, but there's a whole field of cacti that you can't see in shot right now that's just growing. It's really cool. We went walking through there, and there's like all these spider webs, and it's right, by the sea and stuff. It's really cool. There's also a freshwater pool. I'm going to include a little bit here as well, because I got to do a thing here that I always wanted to do, which was, when you have a drone, which I got a drone for Christmas. Thanks, Mom. You have a drone and you're swimming in a pool, and you're doing like, I call it Jesus pose, and you're just like laying on your back with your arms out like in a T shape, and the drone like kind of like goes up and up and up, and so I've always wanted to do that, and I got to do that here, which is awesome. There's like even fish in the pool, like I don't know if they're like goldfish or koi or something, but they didn't seem too disturbed by the presence of swimmers, so that was good. And yeah, basically it's just a beautiful place. There's a hammock. There's 2 cats. You probably saw them earlier scrambling for food. They're normally a lot more quiet than that. They're very, very sweet. And it's really nice to come back every day and they're like greeting us. It's a really beautiful place. Finca La Punta, also on booking.com. Do check it out if you want to come up and stay somewhere up here. What did we actually do in terms of tourist attractions when we got here? Well, basically, the first thing we did was for my boyfriend's birthday. We went on a submarine, which it's like a tourist submarine. So I don't want you to think that we got on like some sort of like high tech. Well, it was. I mean, it has to be high tech. It goes underneath the water, but it's like a touristy submarine thing. There's only a few that's been built in the world, according to the guys that gave us the submarine tour. So you get in and you kind of start pulling out. I'll put in some photos here so you can see. It's like this yellow submarine, and it kind of pulls out of harbor. You're sitting down below in front of like a portal hole, and you can also look down at the little video monitor to see the video from, I'm not sure what it's called. Basically, something on top shows you a video of what the submarine can see on top. And you're pulling out of harbor, and on the monitor you can see it going lower and lower and lower and lower, and it's really cool. And you can see all the water like covering the submarine, and then you're like underwater, and you basically go deeper. I cannot remember exactly how low we were. I think we were 15 or 30 meters below. My boyfriend's giving me the thumbs up, so yeah, he's more of a head for those kind of technical stats and figures and stuff. But yeah, all I know is we were under the water. But yeah, apparently we were 30 meters below the sea level, and we saw like a lot of fish at the start. They were actually kind of congregating around the portal hole, and apparently it was because they were eating the little things on the submarine. Like, I guess stuff was growing, algae, or that's probably completely wrong, but they were eating something on the side of the sub. And as we went, we saw more fish, and then we had a little break. Basically, the submarine rested on the bottom of the ocean floor. No, it wasn't that deep, but it was like resting on the bottom, I guess is what you would say. And this scuba diver came over, and he would, at first I was kind of wary. I was like, is this going to be one of those things where they disturb wildlife just for tourists to gawp at, you know, like picking up starfish with their bare hands and like shoving it against the window? And I was just like, I hope it doesn't go there. But it didn't, thankfully. The scuba diver just kind of, he was, I guess, playing with these manta rays, or were they stingrays? Manta rays? These manta rays that came around. And I think it was kind of ethical enough. He wasn't touching them really. He wasn't feeding them, I don't think. But he was like, they were interested, I think, in the bubbles that he was blowing. So he was swimming around so that they would follow him, and we could see them basically go after him through the portal holes. And as a really nice touch, they actually stuck a little poster of happy birthday for my boyfriend's birthday into the portal hole, which is like super surprising because I had said to them, you know, it's both of our birthdays, but I hadn't actually heard anything from them, or they hadn't said, oh, we're going to do this. They just randomly did it. It was really cool. I didn't write down, I mean, if you Google submarine safari Tenerife, it's the only one that's there, but I'll link it in the description anyway, because it was amazing. I would definitely recommend it. And on a personal note, I have a thing that's kind of wrong with my lung, and I can't scuba dive. So it was like the only thing for me that I could go underneath the water and see stuff like that. So I was really, even though it was for my boyfriend's birthday, I was really happy about that. But actually, it wasn't supposed to even be on that day. It was supposed to be on a different day, but I changed it because we were going to go wakeboarding, but they had to cancel that because of the weather. So we didn't get to go wakeboarding in the end. But hey, we did the scuba diving, or we did the submarine thing, and it was actually, I think it was way better, to be honest. In the afternoon, we went to this Aqua Club thermal place, which is a spa, like a swimming pool spa. And they were actually also really, really, really nice, because I had told them, when it's my birthday, or when it's my boyfriend's birthday, I tell everyone, like, I'm like, every restaurant we go to, every place we go to, any person we meet in the street, any shop we go to, it's my birthday, it's his birthday, his birthdays. And sometimes people are like, oh, okay, cool. And sometimes people give you free stuff. Like, it's really cool. So obviously the scuba diver, like, that was a nice surprise. But the Aqua Club Thermal, they let us upgrade for €10 each to this VIP thing. And I know it sounds a bit like, oh, they upsold you, but like, it was worth way more than that. But we had just a circuit kind of booked, like just access, no massages or anything, you know, just access to the pools, and there's a steam room and a sauna. There was an ice bucket. There was 3 jacuzzis of different, 2 were hot and 1 was like a cold plunge. And then there was a kind of a swimming pool that goes around the whole thing with, you know, jets and some underwater exercise machines. And basically what was extra that we got was this cool little cabana. In there was 4 cabanas, one in each corner. It was like big kind of like white marquee pretty thing with like a nice 2-person lounge bed, whereas you no one else had those. They just had like the kind of plasticky chairs by the side. So we got to sit in there, and we got like these robes that people didn't get, and slippers, and we got a fruit platter and tea and water and stuff. So yeah, I think it was definitely worth it. It was really, really nice. And they took a lovely photo of us outside, and then when we were leaving, they had it printed and laminated on this like, you know, mock-up of a newspaper page, which was really, really cool. So definitely happy that I told them about the birthday. Definitely recommend them. I will put them in the comments as well. Aqua Club Thermal in Tenerife. And then the next day was a chill day. And I wanted to include this in the podcast because I think it's really, really, really important to have chill days and not to fall into the trap of trying to be spontaneous like my boyfriend and organize a very last minute 3-hour round trip to a cliff and a beach and a photo stop. And no, it's a chill day. You do nothing, because the amount of holidays I've been on where you're just go, 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 go. I want to see everything. And you're just wrecked by the end of the holiday. Like I am not wrecked at all right now. I'm actually really happy to be going home, and I've seen a lot of nice stuff. I'm happy to go back to a routine, and you know, I wouldn't have that if I packed every day full of stuff. So even before you're gonna maybe go on a holiday, if you think there's so much stuff that you want to see that it's like 5 full days like are packed, just add 2 days on if you can, like to your holiday, and then put 2 chill days in between. It's gonna honestly save your life. It's so good. I would definitely recommend chill days to everybody. Hi baby. Hi. Oh sweetie, this is Dixie. The next day we went snorkeling with turtles. There was no turtles. There was not one turtle. Are turtles in Tenerife? Who knows? We didn't see any. So I was a bit annoyed by that, and I had a bit of a strop because basically it was billed. I won't give the name of this company because I'm trash talking them, but I can't recommend them anyway, so I don't want to give them the link. But like on their website was all about like swim with the turtles, like I think there was some sort of percentage, like 90% guaranteed, you know. And then when we get there, it's very rinky dink, and it's very like, we definitely can't guarantee turtles. And I was like, well, your website's kind of, but I was like, okay, they're just hedging their bets, because I mean, I tried to get the most ethical one that I could find, and that they're not, you know, enticing the turtles, they're not touching the turtles, they're not doing anything bad to the turtles. So I was like, of course they're wild animals, they can't guarantee that they're not gonna see turtles. But like their website's very, very, very marketing-y towards, you're probably definitely going to see them. Anyway, we went out, we saw like a fin of a dolphin. The other people on the trip were happy with that, because they were like, I don't know, I'm very used to dolphins because in Malaga I can actually see them from my window of my house sometimes. It's rare, but like, you know, but then I see them often on the beach, and I'm just kind of like, okay, fine, dolphins. But I didn't book a dolphin tour, did I? I booked a turtle tour, but there was no turtles. But it's fine. We'll move on. The afternoon we did paragliding. This also went a bit wrong because I booked like a really cool €200 paragliding thing that was like 40 minutes long, and it was going from like above the clouds and towards the north. But unfortunately, due to weather conditions, it wasn't available, so we had to change last minute and do a 15 to 20 minute one lower down and not as far. So I mean, it was okay that we changed because it's out of their control. It's a weather thing, totally fine. And the 2 guys that we did it with, Johnny and James, they were like the nicest guys ever. Like they were so cool. And it was with Tenerife Top Paragliding. I'll also link them in the description. But that was a super fun experience, and I'm going to put in some videos probably here and some photos, because it was a €30 extra per person to get the GoPro footage, but it was so worth it because, you know, you could have brought your own GoPro, but I mean, they have this big long stick and they know what they're doing, and it's definitely worth it, I think, just to get the extra footage, because it's something you'll remember forever. And something you probably won't do very many times in your life. Like I did it once before, and that was in Interlaken in Switzerland, and that was really cool as well. But, you know, I mean, you're not going to do that kind of thing every day. So I would definitely get the extra, you know, photos and video to remind yourself later on of doing it. And it was actually really, really pretty. You can also kind of, the pressure is off you. Like if you have a GoPro, you're like taking content and stuff. Whereas if you let the guide do it, then you can actually enjoy the flight and enjoy the views. And it was just a really beautiful vista. And it wasn't that adrenaline shooting because I'd done it before. So I was very much like, I'm just going to enjoy this. And you run off a cliff basically and then you start gliding, and they find some thermals, which are kind of like, I guess, pockets of hot air, and they kind of turn into the thermals like in a circle to try and get up higher and higher and higher. And then when they're high enough, they, you know, the flight goes down towards the sea. The aim was to reach the beach, but we didn't get a good enough thermal to go high enough to reach the beach, so we kind of just went to this what would you call it, this kind of barren field, I guess, overlooking the beach, overlooking the sea. So I mean, I was happy. It was really fun. The guy was lovely. Could not say enough good things about them. Yeah, basically that's almost it. We had another chill day after that, and then the day after that we went up Teide. I do not really know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I think it's Teide, which is the big mountain. And unfortunately, you cannot see it today because it's covered in cloud, which it often is. But yesterday, from here, we had like this amazing view of it. Like actually just behind me, you would never even think. I'll put a photo in. I took photos yesterday. And it's just absolutely massive. It's actually the biggest mountain in mainland Spain. Well, actually, when we went up it yesterday, we went up in a cable car, drove to the lower cable car station, took the cable car up. Very important that you book that beforehand because you cannot buy the tickets to the cable car at the cable car, and a lot of people make that mistake. So book them online. But right now I'm going to cut to this clip that I recorded yesterday actually on the mountain. So yeah, I'm going to cut to that now and enjoy that. Hey guys, this is the part of the podcast where I am coming to you from Teide National Park, which is where the Teide mountain / volcano is. A few facts about the place. Basically, it's around 3,700 meters above sea level, so it's quite high. It's the highest peak in the entirety of Spain, actually. You can get a bit of altitude sickness when you come up here, and it is quite cold, hence the blanket, because I didn't really prepare myself well enough. So if you're coming up here, do try and wear colder climate clothes than you would necessarily down there on the beach. I'd nicked this from the accommodation, but yeah, it serves a good purpose. The last time this volcano erupted was in the early 1900s, so I think it is still classified as an active volcano, but I don't think there's any chance of it erupting today. And we came up here via cable car. You can walk it or hike it in a couple of days hike if you're that way inclined, but we chose the cable car. You can come up quite high with the cable car, but you can't go all the way to the top unless you get a permit. The permits are very hard to get. They sell out. Well, I can't say sell out because they're free, but they are gone basically 2, 3, 4 months even in advance. So if you are coming to Tenerife and you want to climb to the top, you should look for a permit pretty, soon. And they are free, so you don't necessarily have to, you don't have to pay for them or anything. So if you change your plans or something, you can obviously, I don't know if you can give the tickets back, but like you can just, I guess, not use them. They're very limited because it's a protected space, protected national area, which is why there's not that many of them. Coming up in the cable car, I kind of messed up. We stood at the front and the views were just of the mountain coming up. So if you're getting the cable car, do stand at maybe either side for the views to the right and the left. It is kind of a sardine can. They do really try and pack people in. So I would advise you to try and do what we did and come really, really early in the morning. The first one, I think, is at 9. We got 9 o'clock in the morning and it was still kind of busy, but it was okay. And the parking was fine this morning, even though later on in the day the parking can be really, really hairy and you might not get a space and it's a bit of a mess. And just to avoid all that, I would advise coming pretty early in the morning. I think that's pretty much it from Teide. Let's get back to the rest of the podcast. So there you have it. Those are all the things that I did when I was in Tenerife. I would definitely recommend you come here. It is a beautiful island. If you do come here, I think it's good to maybe get out of the south side of the island for a bit and come north, because the north is like, I would say like more natural, more of like a natural beauty. Whereas when we were down south, we saw a lot of, malls and, very, very, very touristy areas. And, if you're into that, that's fine. But we like a bit of a mix of both, actually, probably more on the natural side. So we came up north to the cliffs and this beautiful accommodation that we're in at the moment, which is a huge garden out the back. And yeah, much more natural vibe up north. But again, make your own decision. I think as well that you should maybe try and steer clear of some of the less ethical animal stuff that I've seen advertised on the island. I haven't looked into it, but I have seen roadside signs for, come to this zoo and, come to this like animal experience. And I'm kind of like, generally I stay away from those kind of animal experiences. I know I tried to go snorkeling with turtles, but, I looked into it being, an ethical place, that they didn't try and entice the turtles, or that when they see them, they don't touch them in any way. And they had lots of guidance on their website to say, don't touch the turtles and stuff, because there's bacteria on our hands. So if you touch the turtles, they could actually die. So it's not like just it's actually quite serious. But like if you're going to stuff like, let's say there's Bengal tigers or lions and stuff. I mean, it's in Tenerife. Like, I'm kind of like, I don't really agree with them being cooped up and promoted as like tourist attractions in that way. But anyway, again, that's up to you. I wouldn't do it. Tenerife in general has been fantastic. It's been a great trip. We are about to go now and go to the lounge in Tenerife. I've not been there before, so that would be super cool to see. Gonna eat everything. I'm gonna starve myself beforehand. I'm gonna eat everything when I get in there 4 hours early. And yeah, basically it's been a good birthday despite some challenges, and I will see you guys in the next podcast.